Night shift. The horror deepens. Ava didn't quit after that night. She wanted to. Begged the charge nurse to move her to another wing, another shift, anything. But staffing shortages kept her chained to the night shift like an invisible curse. Management dismissed her story as exhaustion, and the security guards refused to talk about what they saw on the 5th floor. But something followed her home. It started small. Her apartment lights flickered. The TV turned on by itself, stuck on static no matter what button she pressed. At night, she woke up to the faint smell of smoke and the taste of ash coating her tongue. And the wet nurse's pin kept showing up. In her purse, in her bathroom sink. Once, under her pillow. She stopped sleeping, stopped talking to her coworkers. Dark circles bloomed under her eyes like bruises, and her hands trembled every time she clocked in. The only reason she didn't completely lose her mind was her best friend and fellow nurse, Maya, who started driving her home after shifts. Until Maya disappeared. She never made it home after dropping Ava off. Her car was found abandoned on the highway, the interior soaked with water, as if it had been left out in the rain. But the weather that night had been clear. The police found a nurse's pin jammed into the steering wheel. Ava started hearing the whispers again. Not just at the hospital, but everywhere. In the hum of her fridge, the pipes in her bathroom, the static on her TV. They grew louder every night. One night, she woke up to her phone buzzing. A notification. Call light on, room 509. Her phone wasn't connected to the hospital system. She threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, but the screen kept glowing, displaying a single message. Look behind you. Ava didn't turn around. She left the apartment and drove to the hospital, tears blurring her vision, heart pounding so hard she thought she might die. She didn't know why she went there, only that something was pulling her back. The elevator doors were already open when she arrived, waiting for her like a gaping mouth. The 5th floor smelled worse this time, the rot thicker, more pungent. The plastic sheets fluttered as she passed, even though there was no draft. Room 509's door stood wide open. She stepped inside, chest heaving. The room looked the same as before, stripped bare, charred walls and nothing else. But this time, she didn't hear the raspy whisper. She heard Maya. Her friend's voice echoed through the room, broken and trembling. Ava, help me, please. The sound came from behind the wall. Without thinking, Ava grabbed a broken pipe from the ground and smashed it against the drywall. The brittle plaster crumbled easily, and she tore into it, ripping chunks away with her bare hands until her fingers bled. And then she found the body. It was curled up inside the wall, skin bloated and dripping, its mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. Maya's uniform was soaked, her ID badge still clipped to her chest. Her eyes were wide open and moving, darting around frantically. She was alive. Ava screamed, stumbling back as Maya's corpse arm shot out, fingers clawing at her scrubs. But it wasn't just Maya. More hands pushed through the broken wall. Dozens of them, blackened, skeletal, grasping. Burnt faces pressed against the gaps, mouths stretched wide, eyes hollow and wet. And in the center of them, the charred nurse stood, her blistered hand outstretched. Ava felt herself losing control. Her legs moved on their own, carrying her toward the figure like a marionette. Her body didn't belong to her anymore. The last thing she saw before she stepped into the wall was Maya's eyes filling with blood as she mouthed a single word, "Run." They found Ava's body weeks later, curled up inside the wall of room 509. Her corpse was soaked. Her eyes were gone. The renovation stopped after that. The hospital quietly sealed off the 5th floor entirely, but new nurses still reported strange things, lights flickering, doors locking on their own. And every now and then, the call light for room 509 would blink on. The cleaning crew ignored it, but sometimes, if you listened closely enough, you could hear a voice echoing down the empty hallway. Help me.